cook live together. I'm going to get it up on the recipe page because, oh, look at this cool sticker that I got. My friend Norma, she took the class on how to recognize child trafficking and all that stuff. And then she brought some cool stuff with to her little class thing. So I got a cool sticker for Operation Underground Railroad, which helps to find and save kids from human trafficking and all that stuff. So check them out, Operation Underground Railroad. On my website right now, for the month of September, 10% of all my book sales from my Facebook page and my website are going to Operation Underground Railroad to help stop human trafficking and child trafficking and to save our kids. So just random fact of the day. Okay, so let's get cooking. I just got the video up on the recipe page so we can all be cooking together here. Got to get all our friends in one basket, right? Got to get everybody together. Okay, here we go. So we're going to make chicken pot pie soup. And I said it was from my Volume 7 cookbook. I went to go look it up. It's not from my Volume 7 cookbook. It is from, I'm not sure which volume, but it's in Cooking with Joy. So it's going to be in either volumes 1 through 5. It's in one of them. I think it's volume 4. It could be. I'm not exactly sure. Whoops, we hit you here, Instagram. But it is in one of my cookbooks. You can look it up or just cook with me and then you can write down the recipe later. Maureen, hi Maureen from Massachusetts. Thanks for being here with me today. Okay, so let's just dig in and start. I am going to modify this recipe just a little bit because I'm making it for dinner tonight for us 3 girls that do right line eating, or that do no sugar, no flour. Megan, hello from Toronto. Hi Megan in Toronto. Thanks for joining. So I have just some leftover veggies and some leftover chicken, so I'm going to kind of use what I have because last night I made some stuff with chicken and stuff in it. Then I'm not going to put the chia seeds or ground flaxseed in because the girls didn't like it. They said it kind of gave it like a slimy texture. To me, I didn't mind it. I thought it tasted good. So you can do the ground flaxseed in the original recipe, but I'm going to modify this recipe just a little bit to fit our taste right now. So let's dig in. So in the recipe it says to mix the chia seeds and flax seeds. We're going to skip that step and go right on to sauteing our vegetables. Now this time I'm not going to sob over the onions, even though that was fun last time. So I have this overhead exhaust fan from my oven. So I like to turn that on and then chop my onion. It takes all the fumes up and not into my eyes and making me cry. Nancy, hey, welcome. So I'm going to use this big pot because I'm going to multiply this recipe times 3 because there's 3 of us girls, all 3 of us still doing weight loss dinner. So I'm going to place this whole pot right on my little scale here. So I'm going to move this out of the way. So this scale does not like having this heavy of a thing on it when you first turn it on. So I turn the scale on, then put my pot, then I push the 0. So I'm going to switch this around so you can see what I'm doing. So we're going to set this on there, 0 the scale, and I can still see the reader, and I have a huge pot on, so win-win. Okay, I can't touch it when I'm pushing 0. So we're going to dice an onion, so I'm going to turn this thing on so I don't sob over the onions again. Let's turn our blower on. So what I already had done, because I thought, oh, I'll just chop the onions before, but then I'm like, no, I'm over by my stove today. So I had already sliced, not all the way through, but pretty close this way chops. So now I'm going to flip this and do it this way. It just makes it easier to dice the onion because this is not a blended soup. So whatever size onion you chop is what size is going to be in the food. So there, I diced it. So now I'm multiplying this times 3. If you were going to do this recipe for 1, you would do a total of all your vegetables, 14 ounces. But I'm multiplying times 3, so I'm going to do that 3 times. Or you could sit and do the math and figure out how many pounds and ounces it would be if you did 14 ounces each. But I don't want to do the math, so I'm just going to do 14 ounces, 0 the scale, then do another 14 ounces, 0 the scale, then do the last 14 ounces. Karen, hi from Montana. Hi, Karen. Welcome. Thanks for joining. So I'm going to do 1 onion. So I diced that all up. So now I'm going to throw that in my pot. And now I have some celery. I already washed my celery. And I'm just going to chop this up also. Dice it pretty small. I can turn this off now because I don't think I'll cry anymore. Alright, so we're going to dice this pretty small. Celery in soup is just so good. It gives it such a good flavor. I had made a chicken zoodle soup last night for dinner, and the celery was just so good in it. It was just so yummy. And it just stays a little bit of that crunch, which is kind of fun when you're eating soup. Then you get all the different textures. Alright, so we got our celery diced nice and small. So now I'm just going to throw this in the pot now, because we got to get to 14 ounces to finish our first serving. So that came to 13.3. Now this is going to shrink a little when I cook it, so I'm just going to count this as 13 ounces, and the 0.3 will just be for the added shrinking. So now I'm going to take this off my scale. Let's see, do we add anything else? Celery and onions. So I'm going to pour just a teeny bit of olive oil just so it doesn't burn to the bottom of my pot. And I'm going to turn my stove on to high till it starts doing the nice sizzling sound. I'm going to grab a spoon, or I'll just stir it so everything gets nice and coated with some olive oil. So that's sitting there. So while that's cooking, we are going to measure our vegetables and our broth. So I have a nice big bowl here. I'm going to move my scale over a little bit. I don't want it to melt. Put this up there. There's that knife. No. Alright, so I have a big bowl because I'm multiplying this times 3. So then we're going to do 8 ounces vegetable broth. So I have some leftover chicken broth from last night. So you could use chicken broth. It's fat-free, so it counts as a condiment just like the vegetable broth does. So it's free. So hey, who doesn't like free stuff in their soup? So I'm going to grab that. Now this is low sodium. You could do normal sodium. I kind of like to do the low sodium, then it's not so salty. So I'm going to do 8 ounces. Eight. Then I'm going to zero the scale. We're going to do 8 ounces again, because again we're multiplying times 3. If you're making this just for one person, you could just do the 8 ounces, or you could multiply it times 3, and then you could have dinner the next 2 nights. Who doesn't like batch cooking? So I zeroed the scale. We're doing our third one now. That one came up to 4. So I'm going to grab another carton of broth. Some more chicken broth. Pour this in. Okay, that's all 3 servings of 8 ounces. Oh, starting to sizzle. So I'm going to leave it on high because I want this to I want the onions to get a little brown. I want the celery to get a little brown. I'm going to grab a big spoon, and then we're going to stir this. Just so we get a nice, even cook. We don't want them burnt. Turn this on low. Oh, it smells so good already. So we're just going to let this cook a little bit longer. We want them to get not all the way cooked through, but just so they're not really, really crunchy. So now I'm going to add, so this was 13 ounces of vegetables. So I need 1 more ounce to complete my first batch of 14 ounces, or the first serving of 14 ounces. So I just have some leftover Tandalin, hey, from Holly, Texas, America. Hey, from Texas. Glad you're here with me today. So I'm going to add, I have a little bit of just steamed beans and peas and carrots, which is perfect because the recipe calls for beans, peas, and carrots, but frozen already. But I'm just going to throw some of this in too. It's not going to hurt it. But you could start with frozen, or you could do a mixture of both. This is kind of a great recipe because you could really throw in almost any leftover vegetables that you have and just throw it in the pot and it'll still taste good. So we're going to do 1 ounce and then 0 the scale. So we got 14 ounces as our first serving. So now we need to do that 2 more times. So I'm just going to keep scooping in till it gets to the next 14 ounces. Now, if you are cooking with frozen veggies, you could add almost 1 extra ounce to kind of overcompensate for it shrinking when you're cooking it, because it does shrink when you cook, especially frozen veggies. Cooked veggies can be a little bit different, but even cooked veggies, if you are like heating up your meal or something and you weigh it before you microwave it or heat it up, then you weigh it right after, it does weigh a little bit less because the heating makes it weigh less. It's science. My dad's a science teacher. He could probably tell you why, but I don't know, but I know it does that. So that's why we always want to weigh the food as as we're going to put it in our mouth. Or you just kind of trust that it's enough for you. So whatever gives you the most peace. So I had my first 14 ounces, so now I'm going to do the last 14 ounces of vegetables. So I have just a little bit left over. We'll use this, and then we'll go to the frozen vegetables. Yay! Cleaned out a container, and it won't rot in the fridge. Isn't that the best? I don't like to waste food. I like to always make sure I get everything in here. So now I have a frozen bag of green beans. This is even steamable, so if you wanted to have them all cooked before you put it in there, you could, or just throw it in frozen. Sunny, hey, watching from Des Moines. Hey, Sunny from Des Moines, so glad to have you with Cooking in My Kitchen. It's so fun. It's so fun to meet all you fun people all around the world. And the internet just brings us so close together. This is getting nice and caramelized, nice and browned. So I'm going to throw this in there till it gets to 14. And I'm going to do just a ½ ounce more for shrinking. Okay, so that's perfect. And since I'm multiplying this times 3, there will be more of the shrinking vegetables also. Okay, so we have our vegetables and broth. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. So ready? I'm going to bring Instagram and Facebook over here. So this is what it looks like. It's nice and getting browned. And it just smells so good. Okay, set you back here. So now that it's nice and cooked through, I'm going to add this bowl and put this in there. So this has our broth and vegetables. So we're going to add this to our pot. We're going to save this bowl for later because we will be using this for the rest of our recipe. Just kind of stir everything a little bit. Now I'm going to turn this back to high because we're going to bring this to a boil. Just so our frozen veggies get nice and thawed and cooked through, because we don't want crunchy vegetables. So I'm going to let that sit. Now while that's sitting, once it brings to a boil, then we'll reduce the heat, but we'll get there. So I'm going to put in this bowl here, I'm going to 0 the scale. And now we're going to do our chicken. I had baked this chicken last night. Kathy, hi from Rowlett, Texas, just got cooking with Joy yesterday. Yay, and I'm so excited to get cooking. Yay, Kathy, I'm so excited for you. It's like Christmas, right? Isn't it so fun? Getting packages in the mail is so fun, especially when you forget what you ordered because it takes so long to get places sometimes that you're like, what did I order? Then you open it and you're like, oh, I've forgotten I got this. It's like Christmas, so fun. I'm so excited for you to dig in and start cooking. We are cooking in our Cooking with Joy here. I'm cooking from it also. Page 282, we're making the chicken pot pie soup. And then we're going to make, somebody had requested on Instagram, I thought you guys were getting bored of my breakfast recipes because that's like my favorite meal of the day. So I make it all the time. And I'm like, ooh, what else can we make for breakfast? So I thought, oh, I'm making too many breakfast recipes on my live videos that, okay, we'll branch off and we'll go to lunch or dinner or something. But then somebody said, oh, make breakfast, please, please, please. And I'm like, yes, okay, I will make breakfast. I like breakfast too. So we're going to be cooking, once this is going to simmer for 15 minutes, then we'll make our breakfast. And we're going to make breakfast from page 49. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet because it's going to be a surprise. But if you look it up in the book, you can. So on to our chicken. So the recipe calls for 3 ounces chicken, which is 3/4 protein. Now, since I'm not doing the flax and chia seeds, which you could if you want to, then just do the 3-ounce chicken. But since I'm not doing that, I'm going to do a little bit of cheese instead. I have some shredded cheese. You could have it on the side. You could have it on top. You could do the flaxseed and chia seed. My sister and mom didn't like that texture that it gave it. I didn't mind it, so to each their own. It's all different for everybody. Gloria, hi from Boise, Idaho. Would love to get one of your cookbooks. Need to save up. Oh, that would be so awesome, Gloria. Yes, definitely. You can treat yourself to one of these because this is a gift that will keep on giving. I try to keep my cookbooks like as cheap or as cost effective as I can. I don't like to be like, oh, this is like a $1,000 book and it's got only 60 recipes. So my single volumes are $14.99, which I think you could go out to eat for one meal for one of that. Not even. I mean, going out to dinner lately is expensive. So I think my cookbook, the single volumes are cheaper than going out to eat. Jessica, sounds yummy. Do you sell your cookbooks at the church store? Oh, Jessica Halderson. Oh, Jessica! No, I don't have any books for sale at the church store, but I could bring one with to church if you would like to pick one up there. Yeah, it's so fun. Cool fact, Jessica, they met, her and her new husband, they're so cute. They met at our teen, we do a teen thing once a month, which we haven't been able to do this month because of COVID and all this stuff. But they met there as teenagers. They were like 15, 16, and they fell in love. And then my brother, he is an ordained pastor. He married them, I think it was last month. It was a beautiful wedding. So it's just so fun to see teenagers grow up, and then you get to see them get married. That is just so fun. Yes, I'm so happy for you guys. Okay. So our soup is boiling now, so I'm going to reduce the heat to low. I'm going to set the timer for 15 minutes. Yep, and we're going to let this simmer for 15 minutes. While that's simmering, I'm going to put my chicken, I'm going to shred my chicken just a little bit. My favorite way is you take 2 forks and you just kind of like break it apart. It's pretty easy. This is just baked chicken. I baked it in my oven at 350 for like 2 to 3 hours with a little bit of water in the... It's just one of those big Corral baking dishes. I'm not even sure what they're called. Corral. Corningware. That's what they're called. I did it in one of those with just about an inch or less of water and just baked it. So it's pretty bland by itself, but it's really yummy. It's nice and tender. And then I just keep it like this, or I put it in recipes. Nicole, hi from Austin, Texas. I'm a vegetarian. Are you still planning on a breakfast recipe for this video? Yes, I am, and the breakfast video is vegetarian, so good news for you. Is baking it healthier than boiling? Ooh, that's a good question. To me, I would think it would be about the same. Boiling it or baking it, to me, I think that would be about the same healthiness. because when you boil it, you're not adding any extra fat or any extra salt or anything, and it's about the same as baking it. I've never boiled chicken before, so I'm not sure how the texture would be, but I'm guessing it would be good because I have cooked chicken in a crock pot before, and that turns out really yummy and tender and juicy. That's why I add a little bit of water to my baking dish, because I don't want my chicken, because this is chicken breast, so I don't want it to like dry out and become like hard and just dry. I want it to be a little juicy. So I guess that's kind of like boiling it, because the water would boil it just a little bit. That's a good question. Have any of you ever boiled a chicken? I don't even know how long you would do it for. Probably till it's cooked through. I know in some recipes you can add, like making soups and stuff, you can add the chicken just raw. I have never done that because I like to weigh my chicken before I put it in there, and then I wouldn't know how much it would weigh. I did do one recipe. Is it in a cookbook? I think it's in a cookbook. It was chicken fajita, and I did add the raw chicken breast to the crock pot, and then I cooked it like all day. And then you take the chicken breast out, then you like break it up and weigh it, and then put it on your plate. So you could do it that way. So I mean, if you wanted to, you could add the chicken raw to this soup. Then you would have to simmer it a much longer time so it's not pink and raw. You don't want to eat raw chicken. That's nasty. Okay, so I think my chicken is nice and shredded. My forks got stuck together. I have seen where they take like an electric mixer and then they like break up their chicken that way. But I would probably do that with hot chicken, not like this is just leftover chicken. I poach chicken. Oh, so you can poach chicken. I've never done that. I'm not exactly sure how to do that, but I guess it would be yummy. So I'm multiplying this times 3. So if I'm going by the original recipe, I would do 9 ounces chicken. So let's just see how much I have. So I have this. My scale turned off while I was chatting with you guys. So I'm going to just pour my chicken in. So I want 9 ounces total. This came out to 8.9, almost 9 ounces. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add just a little bit of chickpeas. So chickpeas weighs a little differently than chicken does. So chicken is 4 ounces total protein. Chickpeas is 6 ounces total protein. So I'm going to take a little bit of this chicken out and do it to just 8. Okay, so let's figure this out. So if we got 6 ounces in there, then we have 2 ounces. So 1/4 of a protein is left. So I'm going to zero the scale, and I'm going to add 1.5 ounces of chickpeas for my last 1/4 of a protein. Because chickpeas are just delicious. So if you are vegetarian, which I know some of you are, don't do the chicken. Do chickpeas. Or you could do any of your favorite beans, or a favorite of your favorite type of protein, whatever you like. Or you could have just your protein on the side and just make this a vegetable dish. So I'm just going to stir this once, just to make sure we get even cooking. It's nice and hot. I'm going to set this to the side. Now while this is cooking, let's get started on our breakfast. So I'm going to put this paper here so we can come back to our recipe later. So we're going to make this was a request, and I'm like, yes, I will definitely make this. Let's make it together. We are going to make coffee overnight oats. Yes, it's so good. It sounds crazy because you think, ew, banana and coffee, but it's so good. So you're going to need oats, chia seeds, milk, yogurt, coffee, and banana. So let's get into this. So I'm going to grab a bowl and a banana, and then I'll come right back here. Bowl. I'm going to grab 2 bananas and some coffee. This is brewed coffee from lunch today. I ran out at breakfast, so I'm like, oh, well, I'll just make some more, you know. I like to have a cup of coffee with my lunch. It's so fun. So this breakfast is so easy to make. It's just pretty much throw everything in, mash it all up, mix it, stick it in the fridge overnight, and that's breakfast tomorrow. It's great. So I'm going to 0 the scale. We're going to add 4 ounces banana. I grabbed 2 bananas just in case, because sometimes a banana is less than 4 ounces. So I'm going to add 4 ounces banana to my bowl. 2, 3.7. Glad I grabbed a second banana, because we need more. Just a tish. 4.2, that's too much. 0.9. Ha, 4. I'm going to leave that banana. Somebody had a good idea. I don't remember her name, but she was amazing. She said that she takes, like, if you do a recipe and then you're like, oh no, I have like half a banana or just like banana chunk, she puts it in a baggie and she puts it in her freezer for later. Isn't that so clever? Otherwise, I'm like, I have guys in the house that don't eat weighed meals, so I'm like, here, guys, you want a banana? And they're always like, sure, I'll eat a banana. So then I'll give it to them. Or, that's a really good idea, because then you can use frozen banana for this recipe if you want. Gloria, what can you use instead of coffee? I'm not a fan. You could, instead of the coffee, you could just do water. You could do, I would just do water then, instead of the coffee. And the coffee, when it's brewed coffee, it doesn't really give it, it's not a strong coffee flavor like you think. My sister does not like coffee at all, and I've made her things with coffee in it, and she didn't even know it. She might actually be watching, so sorry, Kelly, if I tricked you. But it doesn't really over-flavor anything. Amy, hi, Amy. Thanks for watching. Okay, so I'm going to grab a fork, and we're going to mash this banana just a little bit. We can leave some chunks in there. The recipe says to chop the banana, but I want to mash it just a little bit. We are going to do a little twist on this recipe because I've noticed as I've kind of grown, and it's with life in general, you kind of grow and your flavors change, you find new things, and you just find new ways of doing it. Like I made this chicken pot pie soup, and my sister-mom didn't like the flaxseed, so we're making a twist on it. We're making it our own. You make a recipe and you're like, I didn't like that, or oh, I didn't like the coffee in it. Skip the coffee. This is your breakfast. You make it how you want it. JD, hi, love your videos, but please pin up your hair and don't keep touching it. Okay, I'm sorry. We'll get the hair out of the way. I know, I do that too. I see people and I'm like, quit doing that, or quit flipping your hair, your Justin Bieber hair or something. Okay, just for you, JD. Is that better? Okay, I will stop touching my hair. I do things with my hands when I'm talking that I don't even know what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to touch my hair one more time and move this. Okay, I'm done touching my hair. It is out of the way. So we have our bananas. Now we're going to do 3 ounces coffee, or you could do 3 ounces water if you don't like coffee. And you could do less coffee, you could do more coffee. The chia seeds are going to soak a lot of this up. And the oats. The oats soak up the moisture, so you're going to want to do like 3 ounces water. Or you could do, well, coffee's free. So yeah, I would just do water. Okay, so now we're going to put oats in there. JD, darling, thank you. I have curly hair and do the same thing. Right, sometimes hair can be a beast, and you just got to like tame the beast and just be nice to it and be like, okay, I won't touch you anymore. So, thank you. If you ever see me doing something else like annoying, let me know, because I do things, you do things and you don't even think about it. Like I'm talking right now and I'm going on and we gotta cook these recipes. Nicole, OMG, you're so beautiful with your hair up. Aw, thank you, Nicole, you're so sweet. You just made my heart smile. Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna do 1 ounce oats. 7, 8.9. 1 ounce. Okay, perfect. Are you going to make the coleslaw? We'll make that another time, Amy. That's a good question. This sounds delicious. Because it is. It's so good. The first time I made this, I'm like, yes, this is a recipe for me. Just going to stir my soup so we get a nice even cook. Make sure all our celery gets cooked through. Okay, so we added our oats. Now we're going to add our chia seeds. You look cute either way. Aw, thank you, Gloria. You're so sweet. You guys are so nice. Okay, so I'm going to grab our chia seeds. And I'm going to grab instant coffee. Oh no. Okay. So the little twist we're going to do is I'm going to add some instant coffee. Now this stuff you think, ew, instant coffee and things, but it doesn't give it, again, it doesn't give it that really strong, whoa, that's like coffee and bananas nasty. No, it gives it like this mellow, I don't even know how to explain it. It gives it just a really warm, mellow flavor to it. I don't know, it's just really good. So I'm just going to add a pinch of this. And you know what? I'm going to add a pinch of chai spice. You can do pumpkin pie spice. You can find chai spice, the recipe for that, because I'm not even sure if it's even in stores. I just saw it in one recipe a long time ago, and then I made a recipe kind of like that. So I'm like, how do you make chai spice? I couldn't find any by me, especially any that didn't have any sugar in it. So I Googled it, and I made my own. So you can find a recipe for that on my website, weightlossrecipescookbook.com, and it's in the Pinterest recipe tab of my menu, and then you can kind of scroll through there and you'll find the chai spice recipe. Super easy. It's just a spice blend. It's pretty close to pumpkin pie spice, but it has cardamom in it, and it's probably a different of the ratio. What are you making today? I am making chicken pot pie soup and coffee overnight oats. Amy, Tandalin, I have crazy curly hair and a house full of 4 girls and my husband too. I totally get it. I can relate to the hair, no worries here. I love your hair. Right? All of us here have a lot of hair. We like kill our vacuums a lot because we have so much hair, and if you have curly hair or just hair in general, you shed. You lose a lot of hair during the day. So our vacuums are really worked on hard, and sometimes you just gotta like, this is my hair today, I have no control over it, I'm just gonna go with it. So that's what you get when you have curly hair, but it's fun, you know, it's wild. I heard the bigger the hair, the higher you are, or the bigger the hair, the closer you are to God. So mine's just really close. Big hair, don't care. Anyways, I'm gonna add a splash of almond extract, just a tiny splash. Just boop. That's it. Just a splash. And this recipe, I don't think I knew about adding the pinch of salt that makes things sweeter. So we're going to add a pinch of salt. That's what we're going to do. Add a pinch of salt. This is just pink Himalayan sea salt. It's my favorite. And then I'm going to grab my chai spice. We're going to add a pinch of this just to flavor it up. We're going to make it like a chai latte. This is just my little spice blend. I made this myself. So I'm just going to add a pinch. Kathy has really cool measuring spoons that go by, this is a pinch, a dash, a blah, blah, blah. And somebody Googled it, or she found it, where a pinch is 1/16 teaspoon. I didn't know that, but that is really clever. My girls call my hair troll hair. Oh, no! Oh, yeah, sometimes it can be like, you know what? The hair, it has a life of its own. It sometimes does its own thing. Or when you're trying to like do a messy bun and then you look later and it like sticks straight up. Or when you're trying to do a messy bun, you can't do it perfect. But then when you're like going throughout your day and you're not going to see anybody, you do a messy bun and it looks amazing. Hair, it's always fun. Okay, so our soup simmered 15 minutes. So let's look again what we're going to do. Then this is where you would add your flaxseed and things, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do the chicken, and we're supposed to add cream to this. This is our fat, so I'm going to zero the scale. So if you have half and half, you can do 2 ounces. If you do, I like the heavy whipping cream. If you do that, you get 1 ounce for your full fat. I just found that out a couple days ago. I didn't know that, so I'm going to grab my cream. I always thought all the cream was the same, but I looked it up again and I'm like, ooh, half and half, you get 2 ounces. Heavy whipping cream, you get 1 ounce. Megan, Natalie, when you finish chopping or smashing your fruit and veggies, can you please show us a close-up view? I sure can, Megan. Yes, I will do that. So this is the shredded chicken. Can you see that? And the chickpeas, because I didn't have enough chicken, so I threw some chickpeas in there. So I'm going to do 3 ounces of this, because again, I'm multiplying this recipe times 3. So the original recipe would be 1 ounce. If you don't like cream, you don't have to do the cream. You could do Greek yogurt instead. I wouldn't put the Greek yogurt until like the very, very end and then just stir that in, because that can sometimes get a little crazy. So I'm going to pour our chicken in. Then I'm going to take a scoopful of just the veggies and pour it back in the bowl to get all of our cream. We don't want any cream left behind. And it just kind of helps get everything out of the bowl and into our soup. So I'm going to save this bowl because we are going to use it a little later. So then I'm going to stir this soup, get everything nice and stirred in there. If you have any big pieces of chicken left that didn't just break when you were shredding it, this would be a good time to just kind of chop it up with your spoon just a little bit. All right, and I'll bring you over to show you it. Because, yeah, what's the use of a cooking video if you can't see any of the food? Okay. You ready to see it? This is what it looks like mixed. Now, if you don't have chicken, you could use turkey, you could use beef, but then it wouldn't be chicken pot pie. It would be like turkey pot pie or beef pot pie. Okay, so that's our soup. So now we're going to let this simmer. I'm going to leave it on low. And we're going to let this simmer 10 more minutes. Then we can get back to our coffee oats. Or our coffee overnight oats. Yeah, coffee oats. Okay, so I'm going to flip this page back. And again, we don't have our full protein in this because I didn't do the flax chia seed. So I'm going to finish that off with cheese. And that'll just kind of thicken it a little bit also instead of the flax. And it'll give it, who doesn't like cheese? You can't really go wrong with cheese. Okay, so we have our banana, our oats, and then I did a pinch of coffee, a pinch of, or a splash of almond extract, a pinch of chai spice. We gotta do our chia seeds. Now, chia seeds are holding up the Instagram camera right now, so I'm gonna hold you. Instagram gets to go for a little ride. There we go. And I'm just gonna open this up. Okay. So we want 1/2 ounce of chia seeds, so I'm going to 0 the scale. We're going to do 1/2 ounce of chia seeds. This really helps thicken it with all the coffee in there and things. So it's almost like an overnight chia pudding oats mixture. So you know you can make chia pudding or you can make overnight oats. This is like both of it together. It gives it a thick custardy texture with the chia seeds. Okay, 0.5. Which is 1/2 ounce. So if you have a scale that does it by decimals, it goes by points. So this is 0.5, which is 1/2 ounce. Now we need to do our yogurt. So we want 4 ounces Greek yogurt. And give this just a little stir. Ooh, it smells so good. And the recipe called for salt and pepper, so I'm going to put a pinch of salt and pepper in here now. I've noticed that when you get the sea salt, that's the bigger granules, they're not as like overly salty as if you use the fine ground. So if you're using like the bigger granules, you can use a bigger pinch than if you were using just the like really fine salt, like table salt. Don't use too much of that because that can get really overpowering. So then just a little bit of pepper. And I'm going to throw in, this is not in the recipe, but I'm going to throw in a pinch of thyme because that gives it a really good flavor. Where did I put that? Here it is. Just a pinch of thyme. It'll kind of give it that pot pie kind of extra flavoring. So that's not in the recipe. So we're kind of mixing it up today. We're working a little bit off the recipe, but then we're making it our own. Nancy, is there anything you can substitute the chia seeds with? Yes, you could skip the chia seeds. You could do ground flaxseed. You could do hemp seed. That kind of does the same thing as chia seed does, where it kind of thickens things. Or you could leave it out completely and then have a different 1/4 of a protein, because that counts as 1/4 of a protein. So if you don't like chia seeds, skip them. Make this your own recipe. All right, so I'm going to grab the Greek yogurt. That's one thing that maybe I should put that in my cookbooks, is the recipes, they can sometimes just be like a guideline. Be like, oh, I could skip this, add this instead. Make it your own. I see a lot of you doing that, where you'll do a different combo of fruits or a different combo of spices, and it still looks amazing, and it still tastes amazing. So these are kind of, they could be guidelines where you can kind of go color outside the lines a little bit, or use a different color, or use a different flavor. Like if you don't like the coffee, if you don't like almond extract, use a different extract, or don't use any at all. The original recipe doesn't call for any of that. So I'm just kind of, this tastes good, let's put a pinch of that in. And then if you find out you don't like that, you don't have to do it the next time. It's kind of fun. It's a little bit adventurous, and it gives you a little bit of an adrenaline rush, because you never know. You're like, what is this going to taste like? It's going to be so fun. So I'm going to do 4 ounces plain Greek yogurt. My scale is at 0. So we're just going to keep adding this. 2, 3. Just one more little dupe. There we go. 4 ounces. We have our coffee, our yogurt. Ooh, we need 2 ounces milk. JD, if you could only buy one cookbook, which do you recommend? Oh, this is the hardest question that I get a lot, because it's kind of like picking which is your favorite child. I have favorite recipes in all the cookbooks. Like Volume 1 has the chickpea pizza. It has the chickpea blondies. Volume 2 has like the yogurt cheesecake. It has the pumpkin pie. It has, so many yummy recipes. Volume 3 has yummy recipes. Volume 4 has really good recipes. It has my favorite creamy tomato soup. Volume 5 has some of my favorite recipes. Volume 6 and 7, they all kind of do. You could really just start with any volume you like. They're not like in a specific order. Usually I recommend starting, I'm going to keep talking as I grab this. Usually I recommend starting with Volume 1, because it has a lot of the good like foundational recipes. It has the taco seasoning. I use that in like everything. Like if I was making a soup and I'm like, I don't know what to season it with, taco seasoning. If I'm making like something, I don't know, I have spaghetti squash. What should I put on this to make it taste better? Taco seasoning. I put it on everything. So usually I recommend starting with Volume 1, but you could start with any of them. You can find a recipe index for all of my cookbooks to see like what recipes would taste the best to you, because everybody has different tastes and stuff. On my website, weightlossrecipescookbook.com, and then if you go to the store, or you can like, the gallery will have the recipe index there, so you can kind of see the recipes and kind of see what they sound like and look like to you, and that might help you pick which volume would taste the best to you. Maybe you like a lot of soups. Maybe you don't like soups. Maybe you like different things. There's all different flavors. So we're going to add 2 ounces milk. You could do plant-based milk if you are not a dairy fan. You could use plant-based yogurt if you're not a dairy fan. I use the whole milk Greek yogurt, and I use whole milk, because to me, that's the least processed. It's the least, I try to get stuff organic as much as I can. So to me, this is the least processed. I like to get it where it's not homogenized, because that's just another processing thing that they go through with the milk. So this is just ultra pasteurized. You can't get a milk unless you like go to a farm. You can't get it without it getting pasteurized, which kills a lot of the good stuff that we need in our bodies, but oh well, do the best you can. The rest will just buff right out. Nicole, do you have a recipe for pumpkin waffles? Which volume? I tried my version again without peeking and failed again. Oh no! Pumpkin waffles can be a little tricky, because again, they can get angry at you. Like, oh no, you're not going to get good pumpkin waffles today. Yeah, and pumpkin can be a little bit like wetter than some things, so it can take a little bit longer to cook. I do have a pumpkin waffle recipe. I'll look that up in a minute. It is in one of my cookbooks. I'm not exactly sure which one. handling. Buy the first cookbook and work your way up. That's a good plan too. Because, I mean, you're starting off right. You're starting off with some good foundational, good easy recipes. That'll just kind of get you started on the right foot. Okay, so I'm going to mix all our stuff. We have everything in there. We have our oats, chia seeds, milk, yogurt, coffee, and banana. So now I'm just going to mix this up, and I will show you. Because you got to get in on the food. I think a lot of times we eat with our eyes first. Which I know I do. I like to make my food pretty. Or I see other people who make their food beautiful, and I'm like, oh, that looks so good. I have to make that. That's why I try to get a picture of every recipe in my cookbook, get a picture of the food, because I literally eat every single thing that has been in my cookbook. I think there's maybe like 1 or 2 recipes that my sister made, and then I'm like, oh, Callie, that looks so good. Let me take a picture of your food. So, I mean, somebody has eaten every single one of these recipes. Usually me, but some of these. All right, so let me show you what it looks like. Get to go for a little ride. This is what it looks like. So there are still a little bit of chunks of banana, and that's okay. This will thicken in the fridge overnight, and it'll get like a nice custardy, nice thick texture. And the chia seeds will really soak everything up. The oats will really soak everything up. Okay, I gotta show Instagram too. Here's what it looks like. Nice and thick. Ooh, our soup is still cooking. It's got 13 seconds left on our soup. So, with this recipe, you get 2 ounces fruit on the side. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to slice 2 ounces banana and just place it on top. That will be really yummy in this for tomorrow for breakfast. I'm so excited. Okay, I'm going to throw this in the sink. And our soup is done. Perfect timing. Set this to the side. So I'm going to stir this again. Everything's nice and heated through. So this is where, okay, so we have 1/4 of our protein left because I did not do the flax and chia seeds. So I'm going to do cheese. So 1/4 of a protein for cheese is also 1/2 ounce. So since I'm multiplying this times 3, I'm going to do 1.5 ounces of cheese, and I'm going to stir that in. So I'm going to turn the stove off. We don't want our cheese to curdle. I've done that too many times. And we're going to do 1.5 ounces of cheese. My bag's kind of broken. You could do mozzarella cheese. You could do shredded cheese. You could do brie cheese. That would be yummy. You could do whatever your favorite cheese is. You could do Parmesan cheese. I just have a big bag of this Fiesta cheese, and I put way too much cheese in here. 1.8. Aha! 1.6. There was one. There we go. 1.5. This is just, I don't know, I get it at Walmart. There's 5 of us in a household and 2 guys, and they eat a lot of food, so we usually just get the big bulk of stuff. Are you making 2 things today, Natalie, and what are they? Amy, once this video is posted, you can go back and start from the beginning and find out what we're making. We're making chicken pot pie soup and coffee overnight oats. Okay, so I'm going to add our cheese. It's surprising how much you actually get for 1/2 ounce of cheese, which will turn out perfectly. It'll kind of thicken our soup. Pour this in. No cheese left behind. Alright, I'm going to put this over here. Alright, we're going to stir this up just until our cheese gets nice and melty. It's not like an overload of cheese, but it's just enough to give it a good cheesy texture. Alright, this is our soup. I'm just going to check the recipe one more time, make sure we got everything in here. We got cream, yep. We got everything. We got our salt and pepper. Okay. And we finished our coffee overnight oats. So I'm going to get a bowl, and I'm going to show you what this looks like. And I'm going to split it up. Because this is dinner tonight. Alright, I'm going to move some things. Ooh, our overnight oats are already starting to thicken. Just move some things out of the way. Is it ever possible to have too much counter space? Okay, so I got our 3 bowls here. So you can put these on 3 scales and then weigh them. Or I just like to do a scoop of each in each and just kind of eyeball it from there. Because I have peace with doing that because then I know, oh, everything's in it split up perfectly. But if you want to be like really make sure that you're getting exactly everything in each one, you could put it on a scale and measure it. So I'm just going to kind of break up a little bit of this chicken a little bit more. So there's some hunks that did not get broken up. Okay. So I'll put a scoop in each and then you'll get to see. Because this is dinner tonight. I think this recipe would freeze well too if you want to like store it for a freezer meal later. Or it's good in the fridge for up to a couple days. I think do you usually go 4 days with meat in the fridge before it gets rotten? Sometimes I'll do a sniff test, be like, oh, that smells good. Not with meat. I mean, be safe with meat. Don't want to get food poisoning. It's not worth it. Spoon it into each bowl. You could also make this a lunch recipe. You could either keep it the same amount of veggies and then just take 4 ounces off of your lunch fruit, because you can swap lunch and dinner fruits and veggies, not the other way around. You can only swap your fruit and have veggies instead. You can't swap your veggies and have all fruit. Don't we wish? That would be amazing. I like my fruit. Or you could use less vegetables in this and then make it a lunch soup. Or if you do the 10 and 10 split, you could do 10 ounces vegetables. So it's not like, oh, if I don't do 14 ounces vegetables, this will taste gross. Make it your own. It'll still taste delicious. All right, we're getting down to it. So now it's just some of the yummy creamy broth. Pour a little in each. Make sure we get it all in there. Okay. We got it all in there. You could add some more salt on top if you like it a little bit more salty. Instead of mixing your cheese in, you could put the cheese on top if you want. Or if you do the flax chia mixture to make it really thick, to thicken it, you could just, this would be your fall soup then. All right, so here's what it looks like. Are you ready? Yum! Let me grab Instagram so they can see it too. This is your finished product. Doesn't that just look delicious and yummy? That's for dinner. Wow, that is a big, delicious bowl of soup. It is. You get a lot of soup. I have these little, okay, I have to show you. I have this little pot. I got it at Aldi's again. Random things at Aldi's that I find. It's this little pot, and it fits just one meal in here perfectly. Because look at that. It actually, this big bowl actually kind of fits in here. But you get a lot of food. This is a whole dinner right here. Isn't that just, oh, yum. It's so fun. We get to eat a lot of food. It's the best. But yeah, this little pot holds 1 serving just perfectly. This one was a little bit big for 3 servings, but I just grabbed it because it's my favorite pot. We all probably have favorite pots and pans that we always use. So yeah, this is dinner. So I'm going to just put it in the fridge and then heat it up when we're ready for dinner because it's a little early. And then here we have our breakfast for tomorrow, which was a really good idea. What should we make next week? Because I kind of want to keep doing this weekly because it's so fun to cook together. So let me know if you have like a favorite recipe or one we should try. I've been having a lot of apple recipes because I was finding out if you have pumpkin every day, every breakfast, and every lunch, the scale will get mad at you just a little bit. It'll like stop and be like, we ain't moving today. So don't have the pumpkin latte mug cake every day for breakfast and lunch. That's not a good idea. I was having other pumpkin recipes. So now it's on to apple recipes because I'm in the fall mood. Lots of apple things. Now that's a lot of soup. It is. It's the best. Oh, maybe we'll make the carrot apple soup. I want to say that's in volume 3 or 4. I think we should make that next week for lunch. That would be really yummy because that's a lunch recipe because of the apples. That one's really fun. So maybe we'll make that. And I don't know, should we make something else? Let me know. Comment in the videos or send me a message or comment on something. Be like, hey, make this in your live video next week. Would love to see this weekly. Yay! Thank you, Natalie. Oh, yay, Tina. I'm so glad. Do you want the oats? Oh, do you warm up the oats in the morning or eat it cold? I kind of like my food cold. I like my oats cold, but you could definitely warm this up. That would be yummy too. So it's up to you, whatever you like. This would warm up pretty nicely. I wouldn't do it too much in the microwave because of the yogurt. So maybe like put it in there maybe like a minute just to get it just kind of warm. Or you could do it in your oven. Not really sure how you would do that. But if you don't have a microwave, you could put it in a little baking dish and warm it up in your oven or an air fryer, whatever you have. Amy, make sure the coleslaw for next Thursday. Ooh, Nancy, yes, apple pie something. Nancy, yes. We'll have to do some appley things and maybe some coleslaw. Sweetie, could you please make some dinner meals, as in where you would get to eat savory foods? Thank you. Yes, we made a dinner meal today. There was 2 weeks ago, we made a chili recipe in a live video, so check that one out. But yeah, savory dishes are so fun too. I do have some savory breakfasts where it's like eggs and that kind of stuff. This is so much fun. Thank you. Oh, Nancy, it was so fun having you guys in the kitchen with me. Oh, I gotta let you in. So, let me turn this off. Not this one. So, Kathy and a couple of you have said that you were like, oh, you need to make like a holiday edition cookbook. Well, good news. It is almost finished. Like, it's just a teensy bit that I just have to like do a couple things, put the right recipes in the index, and then my sister just has to edit like 1 or 2 things, and then it's like done. So it's over 100 recipes of all the favorite holiday foods from not just 1 through 5, but volumes 1 through 8, all the holiday recipes. So it's like the carrot cake, the pumpkin pie. I think this soup is in it because this is just like a holiday in your mouth. Chicken pot pie, that just, I don't know, that just screams like Thanksgiving or like Christmassy. So all those kind of recipes. There's like some spice, I think there's an orange spice recipe in there. Just all like the warm holiday recipes that just kind of like warm your heart when you eat them. You're like, oh, this just tastes like holiday memories. So that is like done. So it should be finished and available on Barnes & Noble first, because once it's published and then it goes on there, then I order it, then it has to be printed and shipped to me. And with COVID, there's still some printing delays. But things are coming. But yeah, that should be done in just a couple of days, and then it will be available. I wanted to get this out so bad before Thanksgiving because that's like the first holiday coming up here. So it will be done before that. I'm not sure if it'll get to me before that and then out to you. Hopefully. Because volume 8, I got the first shipment and I showed you when I made the little live video announcement, but I ran, like, they're gone. They were all shipped out. So the next shipment, there's some of you still waiting, but it's coming soon. I have one being printed right now. It sometimes takes a little bit, but it is being printed. It is on the way. But there is a new holiday edition coming soon with all the holiday recipes from volumes 1 through 8. So if you have volumes 1 through 8, you have all these recipes, but they're put together in one book. So you're like, oh, the holidays are coming up. What do I make? You could make this for a family event and serve people this. They'd be like, oh, I didn't even know that was sugar-free and flour-free. It tastes so good. JD, okay, that will be my first cookbook. Janet, that's awesome. Connie, that is so amazing and awesome, Natalie. Tina said, don't forget to post this replay. I missed the beginning. You look so beautiful. Aw, so does your soup. Yes, I will definitely post this. It'll be on my website, on my Facebook, on this recipe page. It'll be everywhere so you can find it easily, so you can make this again and again and again. Tina, please tell me where to order your books. Not sure what their title is, or if you have to order from Amazon. My first time viewing you. Oh, Tina, it's so fun. Welcome the first time. You can find all of my cookbooks at weightlossrecipescookbook.com. All my cookbooks are there. Or you can find them on Barnes & Noble. It's called Weight Loss Recipes Cookbook, volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All of those. Sweetie, soups make me hungry after a while. They satisfy you for a bit, but then, I understand. I had a chicken soup last night, and I'm like, oh, I'm so full. And then right before bed, I'm like, oh, I'm so hungry. But I knew it was fake hunger. So yeah, soups can do that. If you just make sure that you get enough of your proteins and fats in there, it should help with that hunger. That's like if you make just a vegetable soup, that can leave you kind of hungry. So I like to always put lots of good hearty proteins in with it also. But yeah, it's definitely true that soups can sometimes do that. So maybe I'll have to make like a quiche or something. I do have a quiche recipe. I'm not sure which volume it's in, but it's in one of them. So maybe we'll make one of those. You could, instead of doing the chicken, because I noticed that eggs really keep you full, you could do like an egg on the side or even like a fried egg on top. That would be really yummy on this too. It's surprising what eggs are good on. I had a fried egg on a salad. I think that's in one of my cookbooks also. It's like huevo rancho salad or something, and then you put a fried egg on it. Oh, that was so good. It's kind of like a chef salad where you put the hard-boiled egg on it, but a fried egg. That was amazing too. Nancy, is it available as an ebook or will it be? Now that I'm not sure of, because since it is over 100 recipes, right now the ebooks that I have, those are even on like the edge. I've had to like take some of the like commercial pictures in the back out so that they're able to email to people. So I might be able to make it in like a two-parter, be like, here's part 1 of the holiday edition, part 2. So I am going to have to think about that because yes, I want it available as ebook. So you in Europe or people who aren't able to get the physical copy, then you could get the ebook of it. So I'm going to figure that out because I do want it available as ebook too. It just might come in 2 parts. But yes, that is coming out soon. Definitely make this yummy soup for dinner. It's so delicious and so creamy with the cream and stuff. Thank you for cooking with me. This is so fun. We're going to do this again next week, and hopefully next week the holiday edition will be published and I can show you some little snippets of it and be like, ooh, here's this recipe, here's this recipe. The cover is so pretty. Kelly designed it. Again, it's gorgeous. It's kind of like the volume 8 where it has the picture of food in it. I think the one on the front cover is like the vegetable soup from volume 1, and then the orange spice oatmeal, I think, from one of the later volumes. I'm not exactly sure which volume. After this many recipes, I don't know which one's in which. I know it's in one of them. It's somewhere. But yeah, it's gorgeous, and the colors, it's just like, oh, so fun. And who doesn't like a holiday in their mouth, right? Okay, got it. Thanks. Sweet. Yep. All right. I answered all your questions. Let me know what we should make next week. I wasn't even going to make the coffee overnight oats, and a lady on Instagram said, hey, make the breakfast recipe. She either wanted the apple nut pops or the coffee overnight oats, and I'm like, we're making coffee overnight oats. That's just so good. So definitely give me a bunch of ideas, and we'll pick and choose what we should make next week, and we can always make it the next week after that, because I want to make this a regular thing because it's so fun cooking with you guys in my kitchen and making dinner with you. It's so fun. All right. Well, thanks for cooking with me. I will be posting this video so you can watch it again and again and again. So you can get the recipe down, make it your own, change up some flavors. If you like cayenne pepper, add some cayenne pepper in there. Add some spice in there. You could do different meats if you don't eat meat. If you're a vegetarian, don't do the meat. You can change almost anything in these recipes, and they'll still probably taste pretty good. I mean, if you change too much, then it won't be the recipe. But again, just make it your own. Have fun with it. All right. Thanks for cooking with me. Love you guys. And have a great day. With joy, Natalie.